Okay, good evening, guys. Well, let's talk more on Python programming using the for loop, nested for loop actually, and then we also use the math for module. Okay, so let's use the math module and nested for loop to create a design. So the pattern we want to create, let's use a description, create a pattern using for loop, nested for loop, for loop. Okay, fine. So actually want us to do a pattern that will have something like this way, something this way, something that looks like this. Okay, so this way. Fine. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Well, fine. So let's use we have a for loop. When you use a for loop, a for block, let's say a loop in range in range 6, for instance. So a for loop in range 6 will give us you know a loop that is going to go through the first value, which is 0, then run this block, go to the second value, which is 1, run this block, go to the next value, which is 2, run this block, then continues like that. So let's put in another loop inside this. So that is for b loop. So let's put the loop in range, the same range. Okay, so let's use range a loop, for instance. A loop is an integer value. Okay, so that means the first value, which is going to be 0, but a here is 0. So arrange here. Okay, that's going to be range 0. That's the first value. Then we run this code inside our okay, so that means we're going to run our code here for the first loop. That means, so what I'm saying here is that for the first value we have a loop to be 0, so we have a range 0 here, then we run our code. For the second value, a loop will be 1. Okay, so we're going to have a range of 0 and 1. Then the next one will be 0, 1, 2, because our range value will be what? 2. Okay, so it's going to continue on and on like that till it completes. Okay, everything 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to have 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are 6 numbers, so that's the end of it. So this is going to be, so for the first part of it we have 0 alone. So let's print that. Print let's print that as b loop. Okay, so let's do that and let's see. Then after it goes through that, let's create a new line. Okay, let's create a new line so that the loop for the next one should be written on a new line, because if you don't put a new line, it's going to let's put this on a straight line first. So don't create a new line after this printing. Then this one, the next loop of it is going to be combined to it on the straight line, so it's going to form a let's say it's going to put all the outputs together in one line, so it's not going to be in the pattern form. Okay, so it's going to be in a straight line form, so we want it to be in a pattern form. That's why for the next one, the first one 0 is going to be on the line, the second one 0, 1 is going to be the next line, because we have created a new line after this one. This is the line, this is another line, so it's going to continue like that. So after that we have 0, 1, 2, then we have another line, then on that same line we go to have 0, 1, 2, 3, we have this on our. So let's print this and see the output of it. Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm showing us. Now we don't want this to show numbers. We want to create a pattern of stars. So let's create a string of asterisks. So this is what we want. So actually show. Yeah, not number. So that's it. So we have it as start. So the asterisk has replaced the digit. Okay, now let's go to the decrement area. So we have done the incrementing part. Now we want to do the decrementing part. Now what we're going to need is similar, but this time around our loop is going to be decrementing order. So let's just copy all of this and then paste on that. So a loop, let's call this a loop 1 in range. So the first value is 6, then let's go all the way down to 0. So you have to put a -1. That's be 1 less than that. Then and let's go on the decremental step of -1 as well. So what we're having now is be loop 1. That's another object in range a loop 1. Okay, fine. So that's it. And let's run that. So we have it sorted out. So this is the pattern we need. Now in the other way around, we can use a variable in place of this value. Let's choose n. Let's choose n, and then let's assign a value to our variable 6, and let's run that again. Fine. And then let's then use an input function. That is, the user will have to enter the value in, okay, by himself or inputs. So let's put a message, enter a value to form the sign pattern. Okay, let's just put pattern of the sign. Okay. To form a pattern, enter a value to form a pattern. All right, so let's put this way. Enter a value to form a pattern. Now let's put this value to be equal to our variable, which is n. So that means we won't be needing this anymore. Okay, now this is okay. This is okay. I must say this is okay. Let's run it. It asks what enter a value to form a pattern. So if I enter 5, what did it say? Trace back. Oh, now what happens there is whenever you get an input from Python it has a default data type of it to be string. So the first thing we need to do is to let's make this an integer. Okay, let's make this an integer. Let's make this an integer. So let's put in 4. Okay, so fine, that's correct. Now we have 4. Okay, so whatever value you put in, it goes to form the pattern for that. Now what if we have something else like a a decimal? What if you have a decimal? Let's run it again. 4.5. Okay, see what happened here? invalid literal for integer with base 10. So this is a decimal, and then it's not that easy to so before we can do that, we're going to be using a math module because we need to use it. So we import math, then let's make it okay, let's give it a abbreviation as M. So now what we're going to use is we use this M, and then there's an object of math which is trunk. There's an object of math which is trunk. So what this does is it actually, removes the decimal part of any value. It doesn't round up to higher or lower. It actually removes only the decimal part. Okay, so what we are going to use is we'll pass in the value that we want the decimal part to be removed inside of this trunk parentheses. Okay, in this way that we say m dot trunk, that is math dot trunk. Okay, so whatever value pass into this object will be removed. Okay, will be the decimal part will be removed. Okay, now so let's say this and then use this as from here first going to need to make it a gradual process. So first let's turn this to D. Okay, D object. So now we need to make this D. We need to make this D. Okay, let's put it as E equal to M dot trunk. Okay, then inside the parentheses we're passing int the D, because we're now trunking a string. We want to trunk an integer. Okay, we want to trunk an integer, so that's what we want to do. Then from here, let's see what output we actually get after that. So let's print E. So if we print E, and then let's comment the remaining part of this code so we don't have an issue with this area. So let's comment that out and then run that. Let's see the output. Enter. What do you say? Did I not comment this out properly? How do you say invalid syntax here? Shouldn't be part of the code. Okay, fine. Let's put 4.5. What did it say? Link to base 10. Okay, now let's do this as okay. You know what we're going to do? Let's place this as a float. Let's place this as a float. Then run it again. 4.5. Fine. Okay, actually what it's telling us as it's not converting a decimal to an integer, and then you actually want to use it as a float in that way. So even if we enter something else, even if we enter 4, okay, it still runs. So it's better we use it as float instead of integer. Now let's continue this way. So at E, move this area. Okay, so we're going to be using E. going to be using n, rather n is our value here. So let's try and run that again. Put this out of it. Okay, so now let's say run this code and then let's see the output. So 5.675. Now that was quite alright. Okay, so let's run it again for another value, say 20.3. Okay, we have a long pattern. Alright, so that takes us to the end of this pattern design. Okay, so we'll go on with the next topic on the next video.